For 10 years, the greatest army in the world had laid siege to the city of Troy. They threw everything they had at its walls: brute force, strategy, and their finest warriors. But the walls held. The city was unbreakable. So the enemy changed their strategy. They stopped the direct assault. And one morning, the Trojans woke up to a miracle. The enemy army was gone, and left on the beach as an offering to the gods was a magnificent, beautiful gift, a colossal wooden horse. It was a work of art, a symbol of their victory. They celebrated, and with joyous effort, they pulled the gift inside their impenetrable walls. And in doing so, they sealed their own doom. Because the enemy's greatest weapon was not the army outside the walls, but the one they willingly brought inside. What if I told you that this ancient strategy is being used against you, not once in a lifetime, but every single day? What if the enemy of your soul, knowing he cannot break down your walls with brute force, is instead offering you beautiful, seemingly harmless gifts? This is the strategy of the spiritual Trojan horse. And the Bible, from its first pages to its last, warns us about it again and again. Today, we are going to expose this ancient pattern of deception, how to spot the hidden army inside these gifts, and how to finally stop pulling them into your life. To understand this strategy, we have to go back to the very beginning, the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve had one rule, one wall of defense, but the enemy did not approach with a terrifying army. He approached with a question, a conversation, and then an offer, a gift. Look at how the Bible describes the Trojan horse he offered to Eve. The fruit wasn't ugly or demonic. It was good for food, a delight to the eyes, and desirable to make one wise. Genesis 3:6. It looked like a gift of nourishment, beauty, and wisdom. It was packaged perfectly. The sales pitch was even better. You will not surely die. You will be like God. Genesis 3:4-5. An upgrade, a promotion, and the price? Just one small act of disobedience. A little thing. So Eve opened the gates. She took the gift inside, and in the dead of night, the army hidden within was unleashed. Its name was sin, and its soldiers were shame, fear, blame, and death. The most fortified city in history fell, not to an external army, but to a single beautiful gift that was willingly brought inside. This is the blueprint for every spiritual attack that has followed. Now let's fast forward a few thousand years to one of God's greatest champions, King David, a man after God's own heart. His fortress was strong, his walls were high, he had defeated giants and conquered kingdoms. So how did the enemy bring him down? Not with a frontal assault, but with a series of small, seemingly harmless Trojan horses.
The first Trojan horse was leisure. The Bible tells us the story began in the spring, at the time when kings go off to war, 2 Samuel 11:1. But David stayed behind in Jerusalem. This was the first small thing, an innocent choice to rest. He pulled a small, beautiful horse of comfort through the gates. The second Trojan horse was an idle glance. While walking on his roof, he saw a woman bathing. The Bible says he saw her. That was the event. But then he didn't turn away, he looked. That lingering gaze was the next Trojan horse. It looked harmless, just a moment of appreciation for beauty. But inside that horse was an entire army called lust. Once that army was inside the walls, the city was already lost. The soldiers of lust went to work, opening the gates for their comrades. The next Trojan horse was inquiry. He sent someone to ask who she was. Then came the horse of invitation. He sent for her. Then the inevitable, fall to adultery. But the army was not finished. Once inside, it seeks to fortify its position. The soldier of adultery opened the gate for the spirit of deception, as David tried to cover up his sin. And when that failed, deception opened the gate for the ultimate soldier, murder.
This ancient pattern is happening to you right now. The enemy's gifts have just changed their packaging. That harmless gossip session at work? It looks like a gift of camaraderie, of being in the know. But the army inside is a spirit of judgment that hardens your heart and teaches you to see the worst in people. That quick scroll through social media profiles that make you feel envious or lustful? It feels like a harmless gift of distraction. But the army inside is a spirit of discontent that quietly steals your peace and your gratitude. That small compromise in your business ethics to get ahead? It feels like a gift of being smart or practical. But the army inside is a spirit of greed that will demand more and more until your integrity is completely gone. Each of these looks like a simple, isolated event, a gift. And so we open our gates and we pull it inside, completely unaware that in the dead of night, a single soldier will climb out and begin the silent work of opening our city to the entire enemy army. So how do we win? It's a terrifying thought, but the solution is profoundly empowering. You stop focusing on fighting the chaotic army that's already running wild inside your city. You go back to the source. You become the vigilant gatekeeper. You learn to inspect every gift before it ever comes through your walls. Here is the 3-step inspection process, the divine protocol for every small thing that presents itself to you. Step 1, interrogate the giver. Before you accept any gift, you must ask, who is offering this to me and who truly benefits? A gift from God will always, ultimately, lead to the fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience. But a gift from the enemy, no matter how beautiful it looks, will always contain a hidden seed of its own fruit: pride, anxiety, division, fear. You must remember the timeless truth. You do not accept gifts from your enemies. Step 2. X-ray the horse. Look beyond the beautiful exterior. Look beyond the just once. Play the tape forward. Use the wisdom God has given you and ask, what is the logical conclusion of this act? If I allow this small thing to become a habit, what kind of person will I become in a year? What army does this gift truly contain? A true gift from God builds you up. A Trojan horse is designed to take you down from the inside. Step 3. Keep the gate shut. This is the moment of your greatest power. It is not a dramatic battle, but a quiet, firm, and unwavering no. Not a negotiation, not a maybe later. It is a definitive refusal to accept the gift. Every time you refuse a Trojan horse, you are doing more than just preventing an invasion. You are strengthening your walls. You are sending a message to the enemy that your fortress is not for sale, that its gatekeeper is awake, and that his cheap gifts have no power here. The enemy's greatest strength is our ignorance. He thrives when we dismiss the little things. He wins when we are too proud or too distracted to inspect the beautiful gifts he leaves on our shore. But from this day forward, you are no longer ignorant. You are a gatekeeper. You are a wise inspector. You have seen the blueprint of his oldest and most effective strategy, and that is a power the enemy cannot stand. Do not be afraid of the grand army you see at the gates. Be vigilant about the beautiful gifts you are offered in times of peace, because the warrior who learns to recognize a Trojan horse is the one who will never see their city fall.